Hi, everybody. I'm Lowinger. Welcome to tonight's topic. Very exciting. We're coming off of the high holiday season. It was Baruch Hashem beautiful. The weather has been fantastic, and hopefully everybody had some meaningful moments in shul or with family. You'll also forgive me if I'm not great with the technology aspect of things. I might need one of my teenage children to come in 20 minutes into it to answer questions. Anyway, so tonight's topic, I thought it would be relevant and helpful, is how do we utilize and take in all this beautiful insight, all this high and lofty ideas and reflections that we've had through the high holiday season, and we bring it down into our everyday life. I think this is such a key important component. Otherwise we have these two worlds, the spiritual world and then the everyday world, and if they don't touch each other and one doesn't transform the other, then we're really missing out on the main point, I think. Okay, so tonight's live stream is going to be 30 minutes. And after around 20 minutes, I am going to review the Q&A, the comments, and I will address any questions or comments. If you have questions, feel free to drop them into the chat anytime, and I will address them at the end, given that I know how to technologically do that. If not, I'll give you my cell phone number and you can just text them to me. Okay, so let me introduce myself. I'm Rachel Lowinger. I'm a clinical psychologist, originally in the Five Towns, and currently recently moved to Boca. So we have a group practice named Embody Recovery, and we operate out of the Five Towns and now in Florida. Me and my colleagues are very passionate about people, about individuals of all ages and stages, and we really want to bring out in each individual that we work with their highest level of being, of well-being, of wisdom and growth. We specialize in working with trauma, specifically childhood trauma, attachment trauma, and also issues related to embodiment. And I guess by embodiment, I mean living in a body, in a physical body, which comes with issues related to eating disorders, disordered eating, body image, everything under that category. So that's what I do for fun. And the other thing that I do for fun is I learn Sha'ar B'tachon and Chassidus, and of course, like everybody else, sourdough, right? That goes without saying. Okay, so let's focus a little bit of what is the problem that we're addressing this evening. And this actually occurs to me as a psychologist a lot, because many times at the end of a very good therapy session, it occurs to me that I really want to make sure that the person is going to be able to take the insights with them into their everyday life. And it's kind of similar in terms of the high holiday season, when we spend a significant amount of time reflecting and digging deep to reflect on our character and on what we could improve. And there's really a tremendous amount of effort, but the issue is that during these special moments, and oftentimes these insights are easy to experience in that cocoon, in that bubble, but as soon as the moment passes, and as soon as we're thrown back into the hectic everyday life with all the challenges that it comes with, these moments are sort of like a dream, right? They just slip away. And it's very similar. There's a lot of similarities with therapy, because therapy is also a kind of a microcosm, a bubble, a safety bubble, where, you know, a person is being nurtured and they have the time and the space to compassionately look at themselves, and there's a lot of insight. But then once that person is thrown into their everyday life, it's easy to let go of that and to slide back into old patterns, into old belief systems, and then we have this feeling of, you know, it's not working. Why is it not working? So I believe that this is really true both in the spiritual realm and in the personal growth realm of psychology. And that, you know, in order to sustain these miraculous, beautiful insights, we have to add some ingredients to give it longevity, and to allow it to take root and to really change us and transform us in a meaningful and sustainable way. And as you can tell, this is very important to me. I'm passionate about it. Because I feel like I don't like to waste, and I feel like when we work so hard to come into contact with something that's so precious like insight, it's such a shame to lose that. And you know, if you are so invested, which we all are, then you deserve to experience the benefits and the fruits. And to do that, we really need to know how to work it into our day-to-day experience. Another reason that this is important to me is because I'm a very practical person, and I like to see results. I feel that both therapy and spirituality should change us in very real ways. And as much as it's nice to have a beautiful session that winds just so, where there's a lot of insight and a lot of understanding, if the person is not experiencing actual changes in their life, then I'm not satisfied. And I really have high expectations, I guess, for myself and for everybody that I try to help, that we should be able to do that. So what's the solution, right? What is it that is missing here? How can we avoid this issue? So I want to talk about a few different ideas. They are all related to this idea of integrating, of bringing in, of working it into the fiber of our beings. So the first ingredient here, I think, has to do with seeing yourself as an active agent in this process of change. Oftentimes, when we have insight, it just kind of comes to us. Yes, we're in the right mindset. Yes, we are, setting ourselves up. But oftentimes there's an aha moment that just kind of comes. It's almost like a gift from above. In therapy, it's a co-creation. It's a creative process, and it comes from the energy that the two people are, the therapist and the patient, are building together. But when it comes to implementing the change, it's not going to have that same quality. It's not going to just happen. So when people say it's not working, I kind of want to redirect them that there is no it that is going to work, and it's going to be more of a active intention on your part, right? Just like if you see a cake recipe and it's a great idea, it's not going to get baked unless you open the cabinet, take out a bowl, and start pouring in the ingredients and mixing them together. So the first ingredient here is this feeling of agency, that I can and I want to, and I will take charge of this change, and intentionally and actively I will continue to reintroduce it and act on that premise. I actually heard a very nice idea from Mrs. Feldman, who taught a shiur here in Boca a few years ago, and she was talking about the concept of Malchus on Rosh Hashanah, right? That we make Hashem king, we re-crown him, and we acknowledge his royalty, his Malchus, but because we were created in the image of Hashem, we also have an element of Malchus, right, which manifests itself in this idea that we have free choice, right? That just as Hashem chose to do this and he chose to do that, and he chose to create a world and he chose to create animals and people and so on and so forth, so too he's given us the same quality of being able to make free choices, and therefore to give us the sense of Malchus, of being a kind of a king in the world. But not just that, psychologically it also means that we have the ability to take the reins internally, to be a king over our thoughts, over our emotions, over our behaviors. And we sometimes struggle with that, right? We feel like there's such a energy, such an inertia that happens out of habit and out of, just the way gravity flows, that we don't feel empowered, that we have the power to make these changes. That we don't have the power, that we don't have the power to make these changes. So the first piece is to believe in ourselves, that we can make the changes, and that we want to make the changes, and that we can take the reins of Malchus and implement. And there's a lot of parallel terms for the same similar concept. If you're an IFS fan, then you would think of it as the big S self, the highest self, the one that's able to work with the other parts and create a kind of a community of parts, but ultimately be the highest level that's aligned with a person's highest values, and therefore be the one that sort of integrates all the different parts and gets them to work together. If you are more of a kind of mindfulness fan, then you might think of this as the part that's witnessing, right? And the part that is able to step back from feelings and thoughts and reflect on them and hold them. If you are thinking more in terms of, CBT and a more cognitive approach, then we're talking about agency, right? About this kind of active, empowered energy. So whichever terms you like to use, the idea is to not feel like a passive recipient, rather to feel empowered, to take that insight, to take that flicker of divine inspiration and to work it into your life. So that would be the first tip that I'd like to share with you. The second thing that I want to share with you is that once you have that energy, you also want to choose a specific topic. And I think, we often see how if you spread yourself too thin, there's a saying in Hebrew, tafasta merubah lo tafasta. If you try to catch too many birds at the same time, you're going to be left empty-handed. And so, and there's so much to choose from, right? I at least have so much work to do, but it's helpful to choose one particular topic that feels the most relevant or the most approachable to you. There may be things that are too lofty, too far off, so try to pick something that's within reach, that's relevant, that's not too high up, but also not too trivial, and then see if you can dedicate a month, a couple months to daily integration of that specific topic. And then what you want to do is to kind of find anchors or markers to keep reminding you throughout the day to tap into this. So, the Thank You Hashem movement, I actually wanted to use gratitude as an example of this, is brilliant, right? Because everybody has a bracelet, and just having that bracelet there is a constant reminder. So something as simple as that can be a game changer for us. And really you could anchor whatever topic you choose to anything that works for you. It could be a physical thing like that. It could be if you want to attach it to times when you pray or when you say Tehillim. It could be, if it's something like, calling to say Good Shabbos to your in-laws, then you could attach it to your drive home from work. So our brain really works by association, and if you want to integrate something into your life, you want to attach it to something that you are already sort of coming into contact with frequently, if that makes sense. Something that's already there that can become a reminder and a cue for this new concept. So I was going to give the example of gratitude because I was focused this year on the idea of simcha and how Sukkot is Zman Simchaseinu, and we're meant to be happy, and the happiness that we experience on Sukkot is kind of the storehouse for happiness that we'll have for the entire year. So there's a lot of pressure to generate a lot of joy and simcha, and I don't know about you, but Sukkot and any other holiday comes with its own set of challenges. What are we doing? Where are we going? Nobody's happy. This one. So how do we hold on to this idea of simcha? And gratitude happens to be one of the ways to generate joy. So because once you feel that gratitude, your heart opens to experiencing how blessed and how good things really are. So I see that I'm running out of time. I'm going to speed up a little bit. So you want to integrate, I think of it as vertically and horizontally, okay? Vertically means you want to kind of have it seep deep, okay? So if you say to yourself, I'm grateful, and you have that thought, that's a cognitive thought, it's up here, it's a very good start, and you can enumerate in your mind the things that you're grateful for. It won't take long because our brains work pretty fast, my kids, my health, that's good. But now we want to kind of have it seep deep. So we want to see what is that feeling of gratitude actually feels in the heart, and you might have to bring up an image of your child or of a special moment to experience the feeling. And then if you really want to amplify that and feel it even deeper in your bones, you might want to, really simulate something that you're full of gratitude. If you, let's say, imagine that tomorrow you receive a mail, a letter, and in there it says you just won $1 million, in some lottery. Imagine the joy, right? Imagine the explosion of feelings of excitement and relief and gratefulness. So that's a much deeper experience. Now this is starting to feel like dopamine and adrenaline in the body and fizz, and so that's already a much deeper felt experience of gratitude. You also want to integrate horizontally, which means you want to spread it to different areas of your life, different domains. So you can have gratitude for personal things like your health and your own well-being. You can have gratitude in relation to relationships you have with your children, with your spouse, even your relationship to your housekeeper. If you have a good one, you know what I'm talking about. Of course, you can extend it to the spiritual realm, have gratitude for Hashem, for being a Jew. And, if you read through brachos, there's a lot of ideas there for all the things that we can be grateful for. But even that can be broken down into so many more details. So you can also expand on the details, right? So if I'm grateful for my health, then I can start to elaborate my eyesight and my smell and my heart and my legs and my hands. So it's sort of like it can explode and spread. You also want to spread it throughout your day, and there's nothing that's too small or too trivial, so it can really range in every area of life. So you really want to work it. You really want to work it, because what's going to happen is that the more you do it, and the way the brain works, the more it's going to kind of become automated to some extent in your mind, and eventually it will kind of become part of your personality, where your personality starts to change and your outlook becomes much more aligned with whatever it is that you are trying to work on. There was some other thought that was kind of flying by. Right. Okay. So last thing, and then I'll look in the comments. You might want to work not necessarily on something positive like gratitude, but on something like like on a quality that you would like to change, that you're not particularly happy about, like excessive anger, or feeling easily abandoned by people, or whatever it is, or feeling anxious, right? That's a big one, feeling anxious and insecure. And in that case, you want to kind of reflect on when are the likely situations where this negative experience is likely to come up for you, and how would you prefer to respond to it. So you want to kind of set yourself up in advance in that case. What are likely situations or people that trigger this feeling, and how are you going to cope with it when it comes? How do you want to change it? So if I'm easily threatened by being judged or abandoned, and I know that there's particular people or particular times of day when I'm likely to have that feeling, then I can anticipate it in advance, and anticipate in advance how I'm going to cope with it. How am I going to talk myself through it? What are ways that I can make myself feel more secure and more relaxed, and less on edge around people? So those are some of the ways that we can integrate making changes to traits that we'd like to modify and to not have, versus the ones that we want to, positive traits that we want to increase. Okay, so what are some counter arguments that people might say? People often say it feels fake, right? And I try to reframe that. It's not fake, it's just not familiar. It's like a new pair of shoes. It doesn't feel like me. After you wear them for 5 years and they're your favorite pair, then it feels like you. So it's not fake, but if it's something that you're not used to do, we're creatures of habit, then things often feel like this is not me. That will pass, so don't be deterred. It's not fake, it's just different. Other objections that people might say is shame is a big one, because shame is the idea that this thing that I've been doing for so long is something that I'm so ashamed of that I kind of don't want to admit to myself that I'm doing this, and that will get in the way of me being willing and able to face it when it comes and change it. What if I can't connect to that original insight? Luckily, I think there are many of them. So if one of the things that felt like really huge when you're davening now feels sort of like, that's actually not such a big thing in my life, then you can always move to plan B or C or D. So those are some typical sort of objections that I hear from people and from myself. I'm going to end now, and I'm going to look at the comments, assuming that I know how to do that. This is where I might need some sort of help. One second. Okay. No questions yet. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? If you guys, if you do have questions and you put them in and I'm not seeing them, then you can send them to my text. I'm sure everybody here is extremely trustworthy, and I don't have an issue sharing my personal phone number with you guys. So it's 516-941-6824. 516-941. I am happy to answer texts, assuming that I can see the Instagram. So anybody has any questions, any ideas, anyone wants to comment on anything that I've said this far, don't be shy. Okay, let me see. Okay, so if nobody has any questions, I guess we can use the last few minutes to just review and highlight the main points. What I attempted to kind of invite you all to think about is to reflect on something that felt really big to you during the high holidays, something that really struck you in a moment of inspiration, is something you want to work on, or something that you really connect to, or something that you really want to, improve on. And to take a moment right now, actually, you can maybe write it down if you have a pen and paper, and to not lose your excitement and your hope that there is something that you can now do in the rest of the year to actually bring it to life and integrate it. And that there are lots of ways to do it, lots of ways to create reminders in your everyday life, from the moment you wake up with gratefulness. Obviously I picked an easy one. Mode Ani is the first thing we say in the morning, but a lot of the times we say things and we don't really mean them. And when we have that personal connection, then the same words are so much more meaningful and so much more real to us. So even if you've been saying Mode Ani for 30 years or 40 years, it could be that this year it means so much more to you. So using words, affirmations, objects like the Thank You Hashem bracelets to remind you and to reconnect you to that idea, and then to try to work that concept into your life, both in terms of how deeply you are able to experience that emotion, and if we're talking about like we said, anger or something like that, then the somatic experience would be to identify what that emotion feels like and how you would like to feel. Right? You'd like to feel more in control. You'd like to feel more secure. You'd like to feel more steady and stable. Whatever it is that you're working on, to identify how that feels on a deeper level, not just as a cognitive idea. And then to really try to look for opportunities in your everyday life where you could practice it. And, there's endless opportunities always to practice all of these aspects of personal growth and personal, improvement. So I think that's all I have to share for tonight. I'm thanking you all so much. If anybody has comments or questions, if by chance they were all here and I didn't see them because I wasn't looking in the right place, please feel free to email me. My email is dr.rachel.lowinger@gmail.com. Rachel.Lowinger@gmail.com. You can also text me, or you can leave me a message on my Instagram account, and I will try to enlist one of my teenagers to help me decipher how to get in touch with these comments. Wishing everybody a fruitful, integrated, and fulfilling year and a gesunde winter, and I hope to see you all soon again, here or elsewhere. Take care. Bye. Okay. Now. How do I end this and post it to?
Don't put me in it.
Okay, so how do I? We're trying to end these guys. Is there any comments, by the way? There's no comments, right? I think this is where the comments would be.
No, this is not where the comments.
Share.
I don't know how to do it.
I'm supposed to post it on my
I don't know
Instagram.
how to do it. I told Dad I did not do it. He said just no.
Call him from your number and see if he can walk us through it. Sorry guys, for whoever is still here, I'm only supposed to be here until 9:30, but I don't know how to post or do whatever comes next, so I am waiting for technical support. Yep. I'm antiquated. Not good at this stuff at all, as you can see. Ideas? How to turn this off? I'm supposed to post it. I'm supposed to post it to my Instagram.
I know. Should I press the X?
Hmm?
Should I press the X?
No. Then we're gonna lose the whole thing.
Don't talk.